fellow exiles, friends, neighbors, colleagues, you who have poured one out for your lost youth and showed up anyway, welcome. We are gathered here today to acknowledge a simple, brutal truth, the kind of truth you only find scribbled on the back of a bar napkin or buried in the book of Jeremiah. Jeremiah, a weeping prophet. He wasn't weeping because he was a soft man. He was weeping because he was tired. He was an honest man forced to live in a carnival of lies. He saw the world clearly, and the world was an absolute mess. He had the kind of weariness only earned by watching the same mistakes get made over and over again for decades. Let's talk about anxiety. It's the feeling that settles in after you've worked 12 hours and realize the whole day might have been for nothing. It's the low, persistent ache that comes from knowing the world is not fair, is not neat, and is definitely not logical. Jeremiah 12, verse 5, listen to what the voice of the divine says to the prophet who is already stretched thin. If you have raced with men on foot and they have wearied you, how can you compete with horses? And if in a safe land you are so quickly exhausted, what will you do in the thickets of Jordan? That is not a comforting pat on the shoulder. That is the acknowledgement that this life is a grind, and if the easy part is already breaking your back, you're not ready for the real trouble. The anxiety comes from the chaos. It comes from the objective fact that good people get tossed into cisterns like Jeremiah in Jeremiah 38, verse 6. You stand tall, you speak truth, you produce value, and yet the mud still finds you. It is illogical. It is the universe shrugging. But this is where you find your steel. The world is arbitrary, yes. It will never treat you fairly, yes. But you, the individual, must be the architect of your own logic. You do not derive your worth from the random failures of the system. You find it in the persistent internal act of showing up. The virtue is not in avoiding the pit. The virtue is in climbing out and getting back to work. And now for the creatures who feel your worry, the slanderers, the people who cannot build their own dam bridge, so they spend their energy trying to saw yours in half. Jeremiah chapter 18, verse 18, they said quiet plainly, come and let us devise schemes against Jeremiah, for the law shall not perish from the priest, nor counsel from the wise, nor the word from the prophet. Come and let us attack him with words. Look at that magnificent statement of cowardice. They didn't say, let us debate his theology. They didn't say, let us critique his argument. They said, let us attack him with words. These people are nothing but moral scavengers. They cannot produce, so they consume the reputations of those who can. Slander is the low, pathetic noise of envy. It's the proof that you have created something, a career, a reputation, a moral foundation that they, in their pettiness, find irresistible to defile. The prophet's insight here is crucial. Do not grant power to the enemy's noise. The moment you stop to argue with the slanderer, you legitimize the chaos they create. Your virtue is objective. It exists whether they acknowledge it or not. The more noise they make, the brighter the spotlight shines on your own undeniable productive clarity. So what is the antidote to the arbitrary cruelty and low-rent slander? What does the ultimate source of order, the God who formed you, command you to do when you are overwhelmed by the surrounding decay? He gives you the most surprising, practical, and self-sufficient command in the entire book. Look at Jeremiah 29. The people are in exile. They are depressed. They are waiting for rescue. And God says, build houses and live in them, plant gardens and eat their produce, seek the welfare of the city where I have sent you, and pray to the Lord for it. Jeremiah 29, verses 5 to 7. Stop the weary waiting. Stop the worrying. The divine answer to existential anxiety is radical self-reliance and productive action, and perhaps even gardening. You are brokenhearted, and God says, go pour a foundation. This is the great command for survival. Control your immediate environment as best you can. The world outside your window can be a drunk, sloppy, and failing, but your internal life, your immediate space, and your work ethic must remain logically sound. You build the house, you plant the garden, you create your own small island of objective order in the sea of public collapse. And why? Because your purpose is internal. Remember what God told Jeremiah at the very beginning, affirming his singular, unshakable value. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you, and before you were born, I consecrated you. I appointed you a prophet to the nations. Jeremiah 1, verse 5. You are known, you are consecrated, your values were set before the first brick was laid, and no amount of slander or arbitrary suffering can ever change that initial design. The new covenant, Jeremiah 31:31, seals the deal. God will rewrite the law in the heart, the code, the truth, underneath the logic. It's not on a crumbling temple wall or the mouth of a politician. It is internal. The anxiety will come, the mud will be thrown, the world will be messy, but you have a house to build, a garden to plant, and an objective, consecrated self to maintain. Your survival is found in the simple, continuous acts of creation. Go forth, be the architect of your own good space, and let the rest of the world be the chaotic background noise it was always meant to be. Amen. Now go get a drink and get to creating.